Welcome back and thanks for tuning in. We're going to talk about delayed gratification and frustration tolerance today. In other words, helping our children wait patiently for stuff that they want. So we know that autistic children in particular, but children in general, let's face it, they're not good at waiting patiently when they want something. And just this week, a mom shared with me that her son's teacher told her that she should work on this skill with him by doing the following. Hold on to something he wants, and while he's looking at you, looking at that item that he can't have, count to 10 and make him wait for it and then give it to him. So I want you to think for a second, how do you think that turns out? And how do you think it feels to both the mother and the child? To me, this is a perfect example of how parenting and therapy are different. And while this might work in a therapeutic setting, I don't believe it's the best strategy for parents to use to help their children. Why? First, it creates power struggles. Second, it doesn't connect to real-life experiences. And third, it can feel confusing and even unfair to kids. In this video, I'll share why approaches like this often fall short and what you can do instead. We'll look at real-world moments where you can build these skills, like waiting in line or taking turns, and why those offer much better opportunities to build those skills. And importantly, I'll also explain why it's crucial for parents to focus on their unique role as guides and collaborators with their children, rather than taking the role of a behavior therapist. By the end of this video, you'll have practical tools and strategies to help your child grow frustration tolerance in a supportive and empowering way. So I touched a bit on why this strategy isn't a good one for parents to use with children, but just to elaborate a bit, it's set up as a power struggle, right? It creates a power dynamic where the parent has all of the power and the child has none. And in that case, it can really trigger frustration and anger on the part of the child because they're focused on their powerlessness when what we want them to be focused on is building the patience. There are plenty of times in real life when circumstances require that we have to exert control and prevent children from having what they want in that moment. So why do we want to create artificial ones that are just arbitrary? And when we create these arbitrary scenarios that aren't connected to real-life experiences, it makes it much more difficult for the new skill to stick. I also want you to think about it from your own perspective. When I think about if I came into the kitchen in the morning and my husband said, "I'm holding a cup of coffee here for you, but you can't have it until you count to 10, I would be furious. I would have a very hard time managing my frustration tolerance, wouldn't you? And the strategy is also, as I mentioned before, it's a strategy that might be useful in a therapeutic setting for behavior therapists, but not for parents. Parents have enough challenges. Life presents plenty of opportunities for us to build these skills. We don't have to create artificial ones. So instead of manufacturing frustration, look for moments in everyday life that already require your child to grow their patience and experience delayed gratification. So for example, in a grocery store line, you might say to the child, we have to wait. Somebody else is checking out before us. Let's breathe together. You can, whatever the child needs to help them get through that, but help them understand the why of it, which is much more appealing than I'm just going to arbitrarily count to 10 and make you wait, right? Seeing somebody right in front of you makes sense to a child. In addition, if you're going to go into a circumstance that's going to require their patience and require them to wait, you might explain that in advance so that they can start to visualize what will happen. For example, okay, we're going to the ice cream store today, and that's very exciting. But sometimes there's somebody in front of us who's being served, and we have to wait our turn. And while that's happening, you can look at the different ice creams that are available, or you can look at your phone, or whatever it is that they can do to occupy their time. But you can let them start to think about the fact that they're going to need to wait. It helps them process what's about to happen. It can be very effective to offer tangible tools for waiting. It can be helpful to have something in their hands or something to focus on. That can make a big difference. So you can offer a sensory toy or a book or even a simple game like I Spy while you're waiting. And that can make the waiting time more manageable. In real-world scenarios, children can understand the why behind waiting, and it makes the skill of building that patience more meaningful and easier to apply in everyday life. Now, it's also important for us to remember that we need to model that kind of patience. I know sometimes life is overwhelming, and we get really frustrated if the person in front of us checking out is really slow, and we can get really impatient. But try to remember that our kids are watching, because that's also helpful. We model everything. So just to quickly summarize, you want to avoid strategies that feel like power struggles, if you can, and especially if they're disconnected from real life. We want to use natural opportunities to teach patience in a supportive and collaborative way. And we want to focus on guiding and modeling, not artificially controlling and creating challenges. The good news is you don't need to force these moments. Life presents plenty of opportunities for us to work with our children to help them learn the patience, and they will. They will build these skills little by little over time if we approach it in this collaborative way. If you found strategies that help your child, I would love if you would post them in the comments to share with other parents. It would be really helpful for us to hear. If you have issues where you've tried this and you need more guidance, you can post that too. I'd be happy to engage in conversation with you. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, I hope you'll like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.